and welcome to my video on enhancing communication for students with disabilities. I'm Allie Cole. I'm a third-year PhD student at Vanderbilt University. I'm studying special education for students with low incidence disabilities. And today we'll explore the importance of communication and how understanding this topic can really significantly benefit your child or your student. Communication as a right. The Communication Bill of Rights, developed in 1992, emphasizes that communication is a basic human right. This document ensures that all communication rights are respected and supported, and describes how every communication method, whether it's verbal speech, gestures, or vocalization, really deserves acknowledgement and respect. When we understand that communication is a fundamental right, we can better protect this right and we can ensure that everyone has the opportunity to express themselves fully and participate meaningfully in all aspects of life. So, what is AAC? AAC stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. It includes all ways of communicating that supplement or replace verbal speech. There are two main types of AAC, aided AAC and unaided AAC. Aided AAC refers to a student or child using external tools that are beyond the body, such as picture symbols or speech-generating devices to communicate, whereas unaided AAC refers to communication that only requires the body, such as non-word vocalizations, gestures, or manual signs. AAC devices range from low-tech options like laminated picture boards to high-tech options like eye gaze-controlled computer software. Behavior as communication. It's really crucial to understand that behavior is often a form of communication, especially for individuals who use AAC. When someone lacks effective communication tools, they may resort to challenging behaviors to express their needs, wants, or emotions. And by teaching really effective communication strategies or AAC use, we can provide a more empowering way for individuals to express themselves. So, for example, in my experience working with youth who use AAC or who have disabilities, I once worked with a student who would often throw objects or hit nearby surfaces when he was frustrated or needed help. And then after introducing a picture communication board to him, we noticed a significant decrease in these types of behaviors. So the student, instead of, hitting the surfaces or throwing objects, he was able to learn to use his help symbol on the communication board and the I need a break symbol when he needed assistance or needed some time to himself. And this really effectively communicated his needs and empowered him to use his voice instead of acting these ways without resorting to challenging behaviors. Debunking AAC myths. I'm going to talk about some common myths about AAC and why they might not necessarily be true. One common misconception is that AAC will hinder speech development. In reality, AAC can actually enhance language skills, and AAC can enhance language skills by providing visual aids for new vocabulary. It can enhance language skills by developing visual motor and cause and effect skills. Also, AAC can enhance language skills by improving both expressive and receptive language abilities, just in general. Another common misconception is that AAC requires some level of literacy skill or specific levels of cognitive abilities prior to using AAC, when actually there are no readiness criteria for teaching communication. So waiting for your child or your student to be ready only prevents the further development for needed communication skills. Last, some people might think that AAC is stigmatizing or that it could get in the way of their child's or students' relationships with their peers, when really AAC can provide communication access, which actually facilitates really healthy and reciprocal peer relationships. For example, One of my past students was often approached by peers who wanted to be his friend and converse with him. However, because he did not have a reliable form of AAC communication yet, and because his verbal language was not always clearly understood, these peers would often become discouraged when the student could not clarify his speech or what he was attempting to say verbally, using a device or some other mode of communication. So once the student really learned to use a device to supplement his speech, he could really repair communication breakdowns, and his peers were really happy to be able to honor his communication and start to form true friendships with him. Strategies for caregivers. There are many ways that a caregiver or teacher can enhance and support AAC communication. First, individuals who utilize AAC may not see many other people who surround them who are also utilizing AAC, and this can be isolating and discouraging for these students and may discourage them from wanting to use their AAC device or from their mode of communication themselves. So this is one reason why modeling AAC use is so important, and individuals learning to use AAC benefit from the adults in their lives or the peers in their lives, people surrounding them, modeling language and back and forth interactions and by responding to them. So caregivers can really effectively model AAC use by using clear, simple cues, by making it fun and limiting demands, and by honoring all communication and presuming competence. So modeling is crucial for AAC learners. Modeling AAC means you are also using your child or student's device or a device of your own to converse with the student who utilizes AAC to communicate or who's learning to use AAC to communicate. So, like I said, a student who uses AAC to communicate may not often see people around them also using AAC, which may contribute to them not wanting to use their device or feeling like AAC is not a valuable form of communication. Some effective ways to model AAC using the device include replacing a spoken word with AAC. For example, saying, I want the press ball. Or using an AC after you complete a sentence, such as saying, I want the ball, and then pressing ball on the device after saying the full sentence. So there's really no wrong way to model. You can interchange the word order and with the frequency with which you're pressing the different buttons on the device. But really, if you focus on modeling AC in about half of your communication, um, versus feeling kind of pressure to model AAC for everything that you say, is a good goal to aim for. Because sometimes feeling like you have to model every single thing that you say using the AAC device can feel really cumbersome. So also because diversity supports learning, modeling many different words within a conversation or an as AAC modeling session is also something to keep in mind. And lastly, when you're modeling AAC, avoiding rapid fire repetition of your words and allowing for plenty of wait time in between communicative turns so that your child can navigate the device without pressure or too much expectation is also something to keep in mind when modeling AAC. So keeping ACUs fun and natural is another strategy that I recommend to caregivers and teachers who are communicating with people or students with disabilities. So incorporating AAC into engaging in everyday activities rather than using it only for demands can be helpful when a student or a child is learning to use AAC or is using AAC. So um, using it and practicing using it and engaging with it during activities that the individual learning to use the AC likes to do, such as incorporating an AC use during a favorite play activity or an everyday routine like cooking or getting ready for bed. Instead of using AAC to place demands on the individual, such as making them ask for water with the AAC device or practicing AAC usage in a non-natural context, is something to keep in mind. Also, by incorporating an individual's interests and making it fun, then the individual is more likely to really adopt that AAC device as their natural voice and to form that genuine connection with their AAC device. Adding messages on an AAC device that are motivating and not just limited to simple requests or yes, no is also important. So messages like, leave me alone, so a student can tell their little sister to stop bothering them, or mom is cheating when playing a favorite board game, empowers communication use and acknowledges that the device is a student's voice. So programming these things onto a student's communication device and not just limiting their communication use or the language that's on their device is also very important, and making it fun, engaging, and useful for that student or that child. Um, Another tip that I have is remember not to force your child or student to say something using their AAC device if they've already said it or if they've already communicated it in a way that you are able to understand. Instead, you can value how it's communicated and value their communicative act by responding to it and not forcing that AAC clarification or the AAC use. Honoring all communication. So, like I mentioned, it's important to respond to, acknowledge, and to encourage all communication attempts. This means that a student might have multiple modes of communication. So, they might use sign language along with the device, along with their vocalizations to communicate. So, honoring all the forms, all the multimodal communication and multiple modes of communication is very important, as this will help an individual grow their skills and empower them to keep learning new ways to communicate. So always celebrate progress also, and know that it takes time to learn how to navigate a new communication mode. And just because progress might look slower than you might like or you might maybe anticipated does not mean that it's not possible or that your child will not or student will not get there with that new mode of communication with using the AAC with learning new ways that they can be understood, that they can communicate their wants, needs, emotions, feelings, responses to things. There's so many ways that we communicate, and honoring them all is a very good thing to keep in mind when communicating with others who might have a disability. So the key takeaways of this video are communication is a fundamental right for all individuals. So the more we can look at communication as a fundamental human right and learn that we need to protect this right, the more that we can help others who might use AAC to communicate. So AAC is a valuable tool that supports, not hinders, communication development is the second key takeaway from this video. And the third key takeaway are the few strategies that I described that you can apply to communicating with students or children who have disabilities and may have limited speech or use AAC. These strategies include modeling and making it fun and honoring all communication attempts. These are some key strategies for success. Additional resources. For more information, consider collaborating with speech language pathologists specializing in AAC, with anybody on your school team. Reach out to other parents and don't be afraid to advocate for your child or your student who has communication needs. And there's always the ASHA website, which stands for the American Speech Language Hearing Association, and multiple resources out there for you if you would like them. Thank you for your time and dedication to supporting communication for all individuals. Remember that every step towards better communication is a step towards a more inclusive world, and I really appreciate your time and attention. Thank you so much.